Hi everyone, a big welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the best new releases from the first half of the year. I'm doing so much new releases reading at the moment and I'm absolutely loving it. A massive thank you to the publishers who send me copies of these books. You make me so happy. I swear there are so many amazing books flying around at the moment. I've been really looking forward to sharing them with you guys. We have 20 something books to talk about. We have literary fiction and non-fiction and fantasy and YA and poetry. I have read a good amount of these. The rest of them I will be reading super soon. Let's do this. First up, from the 10th of January from Simon & Schuster, we have The Deluge by Stephen Markley. This is a chunky literary novel set at the beginning of the 21st century as America is convulsing from ecological crises and problematic governments. Ohio by Stephen Markley was one of my favourite reads of 2022. He is an exceptional writer. He captures specific times and places in America and the people within it so perceptively. He also combines character study with amazing suspense and incredible climaxes. I haven't read this one yet, but I'm sure it's going to be epic. Next up, from the 23rd of February by Indigo Press, we have Ramble by Priya Hine. This is a literary novel set in Mauritius. It follows a 15-year-old Noemi who is forced to leave school and go and work for a wealthy white family on the other side of the slums where she grew up. This is about long-standing cycles of class and ethnicity, violence and power. It is eye-opening and blistering and seductively written. A really powerful read. From the 28th of February from Bloomsbury, we have A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This is a highly anticipated epic fantasy novel, the prequel to the much-loved Priory of the Orange Tree. Female-led queer dragon fantasy. This has amazing plotting, brilliant world building, an array of wonderful characters. This is totally stunning, such a work of art, and even better than Priory. It's fucking massive, by the way. From the 2nd of March by Harper Voyager, we have The Adventures of Amina Azarafi by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the start of a new fantasy trilogy set on the high seas, following the story of an infamous female pirate as she is tasked with retrieving her comrade's kidnapped daughter. I love S.A. Chakraborty. Her earlier trilogy, the Daevabad trilogy, is my favourite fantasy series of all time. She does everything spectacularly. Everything you could want in a delicious high fantasy. I need to go out and buy this one with the fancy end papers and the map in the front. Also from the 2nd of March from Faber, we have Old God's Time by Sebastian Barry. This is a literary novel following the story of a retired policeman living a quiet life in his apartment overlooking the Irish Sea. When two former colleagues turn up at his door asking about an old case, he's thrown back into a dark and unresolved past. This is seamlessly crafted, clearly realised, heart-wrenching stuff. Sebastian Barry is such a stunning and unique writer. Another one from the 2nd of March, this one by Peninsula Press. We have How to Think Like a Woman by Reagan Penaluna. This is a non-fiction book detailing the author's own experiences with sexism and the patriarchy in philosophy academia, as well as exploring the lives and works of 4 female philosophers who influenced her. I love philosophy, and this book is a breath of fresh air. The blend of personal memoir and the facts about these 4 philosophers is wonderful, entertaining and insightful. This is a good time. Also, very good cover. From the 16th of March by Daunt Books, we have Doghearted, Essays on Our Fierce and Familiar Companions, edited by Rowan Hiseo Buchanan and Jessica J. Lee. This is a collection of essays in which a bunch of contemporary writers write about their experiences with dogs. The stories in here are joyful and hilarious and tender. There's a whole range, a total joy to read, and definitely one for any dog lovers out there. Also from the 16th of March from Michael Joseph, we have The Secrets of Heartwood Hall by Katie Lumsden. This is a debut historical novel from my fellow booktuber Katie over at Books and Things. Set in the 1850s, it follows a new governess in a country home where strange things begin to occur. This delivers all of the atmosphere and all of the fresh gothic goodness that you could want. Really, really happy for you, Katie. From the 23rd of March by Nine Arches Press, we have White Ghosts by Katie Hale. This is a debut poetry collection tracing the poet's maternal lines and legacies of slavery and whiteness in America. This is intimate and wide-reaching, exploring themes of inheritance and compliance and racial constructs and guilt. Super interesting and complex. I was fascinated by all of the women in here. From the 4th of April by Walker Books, we have Nick Blake and the Remarkables by Angie Thomas. This is Angie Thomas's middle grade debut, following on from her super successful YA novels, including The Hate U Give. This is the first in a contemporary fantasy series inspired by African American folklore. It follows a world comprised of Remarkables, people who study magic, and Unremarkables. Angie Thomas is super talented. I love her work. From the 6th of April by Faber, we have Shy by Max Porter. This is a short literary novel following a teenage boy over a few hours one night as he runs away from a home for troubled young men. Max Porter is such a singular, talented author. He has a distinctive voice, his prose being fragmented with different voices and thoughts popping in and out. This is a heavy, lyrical, evocative read, totally stunning. Coming on the 25th of April from Viking, we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. Emily Henry is now the queen of quirky millennial summer romances. This tells the story of a couple on their yearly holiday getaway with their best friends, only they secretly broke up 6 months ago. Emily Henry hits the spot with her plots, her characters, their witty, sexually charged dialogue. She knows what she is doing. This is going to be a massive hit this summer. Coming on the 27th of April from Viking, we have Greek Lessons by Han Kang, translated by Deborah Smith and Emily Ye Won. This is a South Korean literary novel following the story of a young woman and her Greek language teacher as she loses her voice and he loses his sight. I believe this is about language and human connection. I'm sure it'll be slightly bizarre, as in other works by Han Kang, but I am hearing beautiful things. Also coming on the 27th of April from Picador, we have Divisible by Itself and One by K Tempest. This is a contemporary poetry collection by the incomparable, masterful K Tempest. It explores integrity, how it is possible to be true to oneself while under the pressure to conform. I believe themes of transformation run throughout, as is typical of K Tempest's poetry. Their work is truly stunning, one of our best contemporary poets. Another one coming on the 27th of April, this one from Carcanet. We have 2040 by Jory Graham. This is another contemporary poetry collection, this one exploring a potentially inevitable apocalyptic world, painting a ruined landscape and asking questions about our mortality. Epic in scope, this is totally beautiful poetry that draws you in and makes you stop and think. Coming on the 4th of May from Faber, we have Patricia Wants to Cuddle by Samantha Allen. This is a literary novel described as queer horror comedy for fans of The Bachelor. I believe there is some reality TV show, a remote wooded island, a terrifying secret. I am so intrigued by this. It sounds really, really fun and totally unique. I also think the title is great. Also coming on the 4th of May from Atlantic Books is Tomorrow Someone Will Arrest You by Mina Kandasamy. This is a poetry collection described as being personal and political, exploring solidarity and resistance and art making in the face of a hostile state. Mina Kandasamy is a brilliant novelist. She has been on the Women's Prize for Fiction shortlist previously. If her poetry is anything like her prose, this will be startling and radical and affecting. Coming on the 10th of May from Fitzcarraldo Editions, we have This Is Not Miami by Fernanda Melchor, translated by Sophie Hughes. This is a collection of short stories inspired by real events set in Mexico. It probes deeply into the motivations of misfits and murderers, exploring their circumstances and their desires, forcing the reader to understand them and maybe even empathize with them. Fernanda Melchor is an expert at exploring the fractures in Mexican society and how they show themselves in individual experiences. Her writing is like no other, one of the most searing and perceptive writers and translators of our time. Highly, highly, highly anticipated. Coming on the 11th of May by Bloomsbury YA, we have Gwen and Art I'm Not in Love by Lex Croucher. This is a queer medieval YA rom-com retelling the story of Arthur and Guinevere, in which they both despise each other, are both secretly gay, and then both come to realise that they are probably better working together as allies than as enemies. Everything about this sounds delightful. Lex Croucher is a really enjoyable historical novelist. Coming on the 25th of May by the Borough Press is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is a literary novel that is said to be hilarious and cutting. It follows the story of a famous, successful novelist who didn't really write her novel, isn't who she says she is, and certainly isn't Asian American, as people believe her to be. This is absolutely everywhere, a very, very big release for this year. R.F. Kuang branching away from fantasy and into other genres is very exciting. I am intrigued to see what this is like. Coming on the 8th of June from Hodder Children's is The Do's and Donuts of Love by Adiba Jaigadar. This is a YA romance following a teenage girl as she competes in the first junior Irish baking competition alongside her ex-girlfriend and a potential new crush. I adore Adiba Jaigadar. Her novels are so delightful. This is said to be full of puns and baking and sexual tension and sabotage. Amazing. Also coming on the 8th of June from William Collins, we have Rural by Rebecca Smith. This is a non-fiction book exploring the working class countryside in the north of England and the overlooked people and communities who shaped it. I was brought up in Cumbria in the northwest, and I love the towns there and the countryside and the people. How these worlds and these translated industries have transformed is super interesting. This sounds great, and another great non-fiction cover. And finally, coming on the 22nd of June by Verve Books is Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. This is a new literary novel set in a small Irish village one long hot summer in the 1990s. This is about first love and adolescent anxiety and the traditions of small communities. This sounds like a perfect summer read. The whole setup is lush. So there we go. Those are a bunch of amazing new releases from the first half of 2023. I swear to God, there are so many amazing new books at the moment. I love all of these. Please let me know if you've read any of these books and how you found them. Also, definitely let me know if there are any other new releases from the first half of this year that I may have forgotten. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. As always, I appreciate it so much. I hope you're doing really, really well. Can't wait to chat to you down below in the comments, and I will hopefully see you really soon with a new video. Bye guys.